So in what continues to be a rough offseason for the DeBoer can't recruit crowd, Alabama just got another massive win on the recruiting trail. This time, a 5-star defensive back out the state of California in Dijon Lee. Today, we need to talk about this, and we need to break down not only why this is such an interesting win for Alabama, but why this is a win that should excite all Alabama fans. But before we can, as always, y'all know the drill. I have got to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, Y for yes, N for no. And is DeBoer exceeding your expectations on the recruiting trail? I can't wait to hear from you, and then let me know who you'd like to see added into the class next. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification as I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it, and if you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and comment down below as those interactions are massive for content creators such as myself. But having said all that, let's jump right into this. And as we always start off these videos, who's Deon Lee? Well, as I alluded to in the intro, he is a 5-star cornerback out the state of California where he plays for Mission Viejo. But if we look at the 24/7 Sports Composite, he comes in specifically as the number 22 player in the nation, regardless of position, the number 4 cornerback in the nation, and the number 1 player in the state of California. And in the intro, I talked about that this was a win that should not only excite Alabama fans, but it's an interesting win. And there's multiple reasons why it's interesting. Reason number 1 is both why it's interesting and why it's exciting, and that's the ability he brings to the table. Because though he's a 5-star cornerback, he is a 5-star cornerback who stands 6'4", 190 pounds. And yes, there has been a push recently in college football for longer, rangier cornerbacks, but still, seeing a guy that's 6'4" with the skill set Lee has, that's not normal. And it's one of the reasons why so many top colleges were after the 5-star cornerback in the state of California, because he has the range they're looking for. He has the ability they're looking for. And on top of all of that, he's got the football IQ they're looking for. But we're going to get into that in a second. In terms of athletic ability, this is a guy that is really interesting. He has a 23-second 200-meter dash time, so you know he's got the speed. But on top of that, he has an ability to be effective in press coverage. He is sticky on his wide receivers, but his football IQ screams off the tape. And in my opinion, you can be excited about the athletic ability because that's certainly there. It's certainly one of the best I have seen in the class of 2025. But his football IQ is on another level. There are so many times when watching his film, he'll be on his guy, covering him, doing a fantastic job, but he's maintaining eye contact with the quarterback. And he sees, okay, there's a wide receiver that's breaking underneath. He will jump off his guy and make a play on the guy underneath. Whether that's disrupting the pass, laying the wood, because that's another thing. This guy hits like a safety and covers like a corner. He has got an intriguing and versatile skill set coupled with that football IQ. It's easy to see why Georgia really wanted this kid. I mean, it doesn't take a lot to figure it out. He has positional versatility, which is one of the themes we talk about whenever we're talking about what Alabama is doing under DeBoer and really what Nick Saban was doing. They are both after guys in DeBoer and Nick Saban that have versatility, and that versatility allows you to min-max how you piece together a room with much more fluidity. And especially when we're looking at this defensive back room, whenever you have a guy like Lee who can do so many things at an elite level, makes it really exciting. And especially when you look at his football IQ. Because it wasn't a one-off instance where he was able to read the play, read what was happening, read the route combination and the quarterback, and break off his guy to go make a play. It was a consistent theme. And so when you couple that football IQ with the athletic ability he has, remember, we just talked about, he has a 23-second 200-meter dash. Whenever you watch him, he's not getting beat over top. He is great in press coverage. He has really good hips to where he can turn and follow a wide receiver, which in turn backs up what I'm saying because he'll be in phase with his guy, see that there's a guy maybe coming underneath, and has an ability to turn and get there really quick, highlighting his ability to be fluid in coverage, but also highlighting his burst and short area quickness. This is a massive win, and it's the second 5-star DeBoer and company have in the class of 2025 per the 24/7 Sports Composite, as Lee joins Duke Johnson, who is ranked as the number 26 prospect in the nation. But the other reason why this is such an interesting win is the story behind this. Kalen DeBoer and Courtney Morgan had a pre-existing relationship with Dijon Lee. Remember, one of the things we've talked about so many times is that it's impressive what DeBoer and company are doing because they don't have as long-standing as a relationship with some of these prospects as other coaching staffs in the nation. Lee, on the other hand, is one of those guys that they do have that relationship with. Now, the relationship with Mo Linguist is new, and it's awesome to see Mo continue to kill it on the recruiting trail, having that California connection as Lee joins Chuck McDonald from California in this class. But that wasn't the only solid connection Lee had. In fact, at one point, there were articles coming out late in 2023 that USC was positioning themselves in a unique area for Lee because they had Williams, the cornerback coach, Coach Williams out there. He has since moved to Georgia. And so whenever you look at this, not only did Alabama have a great connection, but Georgia had a great connection with the cornerback coach that was recruiting him so heavily when they were both in the state of California. That's what makes this such a unique win. Because, yes, Georgia was going to be pushing regardless, but Georgia absolutely made a move hiring USC's defensive backs coach, who already had a fantastic relationship with Lee, and adding him into the fold. Whenever you look at that, in my opinion, it only goes to further what a big win this is for Alabama. Because while Kalen DeBoer and Courtney Morgan had that pre-existing relationship, they just went toe-to-toe with Georgia. And we started this video out saying that for the people that doubted Kalen DeBoer's recruiting ability, it's been a rough offseason. This is only going to further why it's been such a rough offseason. Kalen DeBoer is going toe-to-toe with the big dogs in college football, no pun intended, and holding his own. That's very impressive, especially when so many people were wondering, can he even land a top 10 class? Now, that seems to be a foregone conclusion. And the question is, will this be a top 5 class? It has been really impressive and interesting to see what DeBoer and company have been doing on the trail, but I don't think that this is a win that we should minimize. And when I say we should minimize, I don't think that the story should go untold. That USC at one point, I believe it was August in 2023, there were some articles coming out saying, hey, we're not saying a commitment is on the way, but we are saying that USC and Coach Williams have done a really good job recruiting Lee. Now that guy's at Georgia. And many people believed that this was a battle between Georgia and Alabama. And while both had long-standing relationships, Georgia's was the position coach. And Georgia's a team that's been able to lock up top 5 recruiting classes year after year after year. And while Kalen DeBoer has done a lot of good things, remember he inherited a 4-8 program at Washington, then went 25-3 in 2 years, he never had a top 10 recruiting class. Georgia, on the other hand, they live in the top 10. They hire Coach Williams from USC, who has that connection to California, who has that connection to Deon Lee, who has done such a fantastic job recruiting him. And there were some out there that thought that meant he was a Georgia lock. But Alabama never wavered. And this is a huge win for the Crimson Tide. I don't think that that portion of this should go untold because so many people tried to detract from Kalen DeBoer's actual coaching ability by saying he can't recruit. Well, he's going toe-to-toe with the biggest brands in college football. And yes, he has the Alabama brand behind him. But he's still doing a fantastic job. This is a huge win for Alabama. Love to see what they're doing on the recruiting trail. Can't wait to see what's next, and I can't wait to hear from all of you. Hop down to the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. That's it. See ya.